Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. இன்றைய நாள் மற்றும் நேற்றைய நாள் ரெண்டுமே ஒரு முக்கிய நாளாக அமைந்துள்ளது. தமிழகத்தில் இரண்டு கூட்டணிகள் உருவாகின்றன. என்னவென்று பார்த்தீர்கள் என்றால், நேற்று அதிமுக கூட்டணியும் இன்று திமுகவின் தலைமையில் ஒரு கூட்டணியும் உருவாகிருக்கின்றன. இப்போ மொத்தம் பேர் இந்த எலெக்ஷன் ரேஸில், அதில் அதிமுக கூட்டணி ஒன்று, திமுக கூட்டணி ஒன்று, டிடிவி தினகரன் மூணாவது, கமல்ஹாசன். அவர் வருவாரா வரமாட்டாரா இல்லை வராமல் போயிடுவாரான்னு தெரியல. ஆனால் தற்சமயம் ஒரு பங்காற்றுபவராக நாம் அவரை தேர்வு செய்து கொள்ளலாம். ஸோ முதல்ல இன்னைக்கு நியூஸை பற்றி பேசலாம், ஏன்னா அதுதான் ரொம்ப முக்கியம். ஸோ டுடே the DMK and the Congress have decided to join hands to fight the elections. So exactly what to expect? First and foremostly, something that we have to consider and something that we have to acknowledge is the DMK's move to gift Congress a total of 10 seats, with Pondicherry being one and rest all 9 from Tamilnadu. Now here, it is indeed a big move. Let's not forget that the AIDMK has given only 5 seats to BJP, while DMK has shared 10 seats with Congress. Certainly a bold move, but isn't not this the sign of things that are prevalent today? The question is, has Congress become more relevant than BJP, not just in India but also in Tamil Nadu? The answer very much is yes. You forget the recent poll performances. Recent poll performances can always be very decisive. Analyzing the past 5 years, okay, yes, that is in the first place. We have to step into demonetization, which should be considered in every possible way. Okay, so though a part of the population hails it as the boldest move and the brightest move, a vast majority of the population does consider it the biggest curse. See, this is how, a layman feels. This is how a flower vendor feels. This is how a bus conductor feels. This is how, some guy who has a kirana shop or a small petty shop feels. This is how a budding entrepreneur feels. This is how anyone, who has invested their money literally feels, whose money is being used for trade feels. The business community, and let's not forget, the farmers are also a big part of the business community. Apart from that, the frustration caused by the amount of queues that were formed. Okay, great. Yes, we do say that this was a part of the greater good efforts which was taken by the Prime Minister. Understand that very well. But one thing that we have to remind ourselves is the events that have been recurring. Okay, now horse trading happened in quite a few states. Elections have happened in plenty of states. The fact of the matter is, money has been playing a big part. Yes, we had demonetization. Most of us believed that there was some effect on black money. Well, the biggest thing that has come up recently is Europa trying to horse trade when there was a crisis in Karnataka politics, and he himself went on to accept that yes, he was involved in horse trading. The question is, where did the money come from? Who gave you the money? Is the question. So, if this was legitimate money, how can he be having so much of money, and why is he trying to do horse trading? As simple as that. As we all know, for horse trading, no one uses legitimate money because legitimate money is quite precious these days. People rather go on to use black money. So, when a BJP leader of a particular state tries to rope in some MLAs from other parties to form a government using black money, what kind of a signal does it sound? Not just this, there have been plenty of instances where cash has been distributed amongst people for the sake of votes. Let's take the Akinagar election. ADMK was called out for distributing plenty of thousands to the common people. Where did the money come from? Is a big question. Likewise, we can go on to ask about many situations. For example, even movie makers, they make pretty grand movies, pretty marvelous movies, but all that money isn't necessarily accounted money. Some of it or majority of it is black money. So exactly what kind of impact did it have on politicians? If that was the case, so many politicians should have gone behind bar, that being the first thing to have happened, including the member of corporation from my own, how can I call it, area, rather not municipality but area. So exactly what kind of impact did it have? And someone told this is to reduce militancy in Kashmir. Well, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we just know what happened in Pulwama. 40 plus CRPF personnel butchered by terrorists. So what did it really achieve? Well, I'll leave it to you all to ponder about it. So apart from that, there are plenty other instances where people really love questions. GST was one of those big moments. So GST is where the taxes from traders, from corporate companies, and from entrepreneurs and people who are freelancers, and it covers a massive industry, the food industry, and shipping or automobile or the IT sector. It was expected to perform very well. Apparently, even the GST did not do well. The government had to keep altering the percentage for various sectors to please each sector and the people, of course, which is sort of a failure, because when they implemented, there should have been extensive calculations, because GST is in place in many countries, but yes, some countries have also repealed GST, have revoked GST. So GST is quite a controversial thing. Now, the one thing I really want to mention about GST is recently there have been plenty of frauds associated to GST. So you can go ahead and search YouTube to find more details about those. So GST as well isn't really how can I call it, a foolproof thing. Still, if you go to various states, if you would catch hold of many of the traders from Rajasthan and Gujarat itself, they themselves do not subscribe to GST, in the sense they do all necessary, they take all necessary measures to evade GST. So not just them, I'm not trying to specifically point out towards them, but they being just the example. There are plenty around, in India who have really found a way, to circumvent GST. So GST also going ineffective. Apart from that, the recent terrorist attack, and not just that, there have been n number of attacks, and particularly in this regime, the army has been targeted, not once, not twice, but quite a few times. Pathankot was an insult to the nation. If Pathankot was not just an insult, then Pulwama is a shame to the nation. And I don't know how to really describe it. Well, gentlemen, we have to remember one thing. After the 26/11 happened, people called for the resignation of the defense minister, who was the incumbent, and he resigned after 26/11 happened. So that shows some sort of accountability to that particular position. Whereas today, the defense minister is defiant to resign. Well, Pulwama is a massive, massive, massive tragedy. 40 families today suffer and grieve without their loved ones, who went on to do the great job of protecting you and me by being the first guard on the border. Unfortunately, we all know what had happened. It is definitely the most grievous thing that has occurred in our recent past. Yes, Pathankot was another major one, where the army controlled area was taken siege. So keeping these in mind, definitely one ought to be questioning a lot of things. There's so many questions that we will have to raise. So I believe the DMK has really understood that the mood of the people in this nation is really swinging towards Congress, and that is precisely the reason why the DMK has provided Congress with 10 seats. I mean, you agree to it or not, the relevance of Congress is much more greater than anything else. Apart from that, we see various other parties taking part in this in a small way, in this alliance. Well, we'll only see as days pass by on how small is their effect. So, going on to yesterday's star event, which is the AIDMK alliance, we have to understand that the alliance was more or less visible between BJP and AIDMK right from 2017 beginning. However, the entry of PMK was rather, I would say, disturbing because PMK really spoke for a lot of change in the past. In the past, in the sense not in the distant past, but rather in the most recent past. And what they have proved is yet again that they are nothing more than a bunch of filthy politicians. The reason I say this is simply because there are n number of videos circulating on the web and on social media platforms where you can see the ruling party ministers and spokesperson trading, or rather exchanging, ugly words with PMK leaders. Or to be even precise, Mr. Anbumani Ramadas, who is the heir of the party's chief, and with Dr. Ramadas himself. PMK spoke way too loudly about how different they are and how greatly have they changed from what the past was to what now is as the present. But yesterday was rather the biggest possible show of the ugliness of the PMK. They totally stripped themselves naked and they went ahead and joined the alliance. I am being extremely critical because of the very fact that Dr. Anbumani Ramadas was portraying himself as the next savior of the state. However, today it is very clear that he is nothing more than a gunda or a thug on the street. So, this being the case, BJP has received 5 places. Well, 5 places for BJP is still too much, if you ask me personally, because the sentiments of the people, if you would speak to them, is pretty much pathetic towards BJP. Yeah, you may have a few here and there shouting slogans of BJP, but that cannot account to anything. So, in this case, the fact is, BJP is the most despised, is the most disliked, is the most unwanted party in the state. Let everything, whatever the politicians say. But the association of the party, which is BJP, and the Prime Minister, who's Narendra Modi, with the Vedanta group, is in itself the biggest reason why people hate this particular party in the state. The simplest reason being, let's say, there is a small shop near to your house, in your locality. Your locality is a very peaceful locality with 20 houses, and this shop sells, general commodities to people. Now, let's say this particular shop is flouting the rules of your particular area, in the sense all of you have allowed this guy. Yes, of course, the building owner has allowed this guy to be there in the area because he is paying him rent. Apart from that, most of you go to a shop to purchase commodities because